Imagine you're living thousands of years ago hunting a plane. The tribe that spotted patterns in random noise survived. The one that didn't died. Your lucky number is what's left of that instinct, firing every lottery pick. You have a lucky number, admit it. Maybe it's 7, your birthday, or the jurisdiction your childhood hero wore. You think it belongs to you. It doesn't. Billions of strangers picked the same one. The reason isn't magic, it's a hidden system running quietly inside your skull. What if your lucky number was never truly yours? Ask people worldwide to name a favorite digit between 1 and 10. The answers aren't random, they cluster. 7 wins almost everywhere, 3 comes second, 13 shows up as either loved or feared, but almost never ignored. Lottery machines record the same bias in every country. Wedding dates spike on repeating numbers, athletes chase specific jerseys. Even skeptics who swear they believe in nothing supernatural still hesitate at 4 in Tokyo, 13 in Manhattan. Every culture invented its own favorites. The Chinese chase 8 because it rhymes with prosperity in their language. The Japanese avoid 4 because it sounds like death. Italians dread 17. Americans skip 13 in their elevators. But underneath all these local flavors sits one shared instinct, the belief that certain numbers are somehow alive, that they carry meaning, that they can bend outcomes in your favor. Where did this universal instinct come from? In 1994, British researcher Alan Kite ran a simple test. Pick a random number between 1 and 10. Pure randomness would spread the answers evenly, each digit appearing about 10% of the time. That is not what happened. 7 showed up nearly 30% of the time. 3 came second. 1 and 10 were almost never chosen at all. People avoided the edges. They avoided even numbers.
They avoided anything that felt too obvious or too round to matter. Here's the thing. Your brain cannot actually generate randomness. When you try, you don't produce noise. You produce a preference. You reach for the digit that feels the most special, the most hidden, the most secretly yours. And so does everyone else. The illusion of free choice collapses under a single survey question. So if it isn't you choosing, then who is? Turn back the clock. Imagine you're a Babylonian priest staring up at a sky that nobody has yet explained. You count 7 lights that wander while the other stars sit still. The sun, the moon, and 5 bright planets.
Just 7. That number went sacred overnight, and it never let go of the human imagination ever since. 7 days in a week, 7 notes in a musical scale, 7 seals in the Bible. Every culture inherited it. Then came Pythagoras, and things got much stranger. He didn't just study numbers, he actually worshipped them. He taught that every digit carried a soul, that reality was music built from ratios, that math itself was a god. But here's the twist. His idea never actually died. It just quietly changed costumes across centuries and continents. In China, it became 8, sacred because its looping shape runs forever without ever finding an end. In Japan, it became 4, quietly forbidden because it sounds almost exactly like the word for death. Same instinct, different mask. And that same ancient mask is quietly sitting on your face right now.
Scientists believe these tags stuck because they helped early societies coordinate. Shared numbers meant shared calendars, rituals, and trust. A tribe agreeing on the meaning of 7 could plan a harvest together. A tribe that couldn't fell apart. Your brain inherited these emotional tags the same way it inherited the fear of snakes. You didn't learn them. You absorbed them from a culture that had been marinating in them for millennia, generation after quiet generation. Ancient roots explain the tags, but they don't explain the feeling. Why does a number feel warm inside? Why does seeing your lucky digit on a license plate lift your mood for the rest of the afternoon? The answer sits deeper, in the oldest wiring of your brain. Pattern detection is your evolutionary firmware itself. It's older than language, older than fire. Our brain is a prediction machine, hunting signal inside noise. Rustling grass, a shadow behind a tree, a repeated shape in the dirt. Every clue could mean life.
Every ancestor who spotted the pattern lived long enough to have children. Every ancestor who missed it fed predators. But the machine has a bug. It fires even when there's nothing there. Psychologists call it apophenia, seeing meaning in randomness. Faces in clouds, messages in coincidences, destiny hiding inside every repeated number you notice. Your brain would rather invent a false pattern than miss a real one. The math is brutal. The cost of a false alarm is small. The cost of missing a predator is everything you have. So evolution set the dial to overreact forever. And then, layered on top of it, there's dopamine. Every time you notice a meaningful coincidence, your brain squirts a tiny chemical reward straight into your bloodstream. You looked at the clock at 11:11. Dopamine. Your lucky number appeared on a receipt. Dopamine. You dreamed of a 3 and then rolled a 3. Dopamine. The chemical doesn't care if it's real, it cares that you noticed. And the more you notice, the more you look, the more you find. This is confirmation bias in its purest form. You remember every hit and forget every single miss. The days your lucky number did nothing vanish from memory. One day it appeared and became a story. Turns out your personal proof of magic is built entirely from evidence your brain decided to keep. But one experiment flips this story upside down. In the early 2000s, psychologist Richard Wiseman began. He spent 10 full years studying people who considered themselves lucky and people who considered themselves quite unlucky. He gave them the same exact tasks. He watched them the same way. What he found changed everything. He handed both groups the same newspaper and asked them to simply count the photographs inside it. On the second page, in giant black letters, he printed a bold message. Stop counting. There are 43. The unlucky people missed the message entirely. They were too focused, too anxious about the counting task. The lucky people saw it almost immediately. Halfway through, Wiseman printed another hidden message worth big money. $250 simply for telling the experimenter about it. The unlucky group missed that. Lucky people weren't blessed by fortune. They were paying wider attention, noticing opportunities the anxious mind filters. They talked to more strangers. They tried more small experiments. They interpreted setbacks as temporary, not final. Belief itself was changing what they perceived. The placebo of luck outperformed actual randomness in every trial. Because belief opened the aperture of attention. The number wasn't magic. The mindset was the real magic. If mindset is the magic, where else does it quietly leak into every corner of your daily life? Everywhere. Watch a pro athlete pick a jersey. Michael Jordan wore 23 because it was half his brother's 45. That single choice made 23 one of the most valuable numbers in sports for an entire generation of fans. Baseball players wear the same undershirt through winning streaks. Tennis players bounce the ball a fixed number before serving. Ask them why, and they shrug. It works. It calms them. And calm hands hit noticeably better shots overall. Hospitals in dozens of countries skip the 13th floor entirely. Elevators jump from 12 to 14 as if erased. Not because architects believe in ghosts, but because patients do, and anxious patients recover slower from every illness. In China, phone numbers full of 8s sell for tens of thousands of dollars at auction to eager buyers. License plates with the right digits fetch small fortunes. Whole apartment prices shift based on the address number alone. Stock markets aren't immune either. Studies show trading volume spikes on culturally lucky dates across many global exchanges. Companies deliberately schedule product launches, mergers, and public offerings to hit auspicious numbers on their preferred calendar dates. Contrary to popular belief, this isn't fringe superstition. It's baked into the economy at every conceivable level. Trillions of dollars move each year based partly on which digits feel warm to millions of nervous humans. Economy is literally bent around belief. So how much is your luck actually costing you every single quiet day? Here's the payoff. Here's what a lucky number really is. It's a cognitive shortcut, nothing mystical about it. A compression algorithm your brain runs to survive an unlivable amount of daily uncertainty and constant unseen risk. Reality is chaotic. Every day, thousands of variables you can't see decide whether you keep your job today, whether you catch a virus, whether the car in the next lane suddenly drifts left into your path. You cannot compute all of it. No brain can. So your mind builds anchors to hold on to instead. Small, portable pieces of meaning you can carry into the storm when everything else feels dangerously uncertain. A lucky number is an anchor. It doesn't have to work, it only has to feel like it might. That feeling changes how you act. You walk into the interview a little steadier, shoulders back, voice calmer. You buy the ticket you would have skipped. You take the shot you would have quietly passed. The brain trades a small piece of truth for a large piece of comfort, because comfort keeps you functional, and functional people survive. Studies show small rituals before high-stakes tasks actually improve how you perform under pressure. Golfers who use a lucky ball sink more putts. Students who bring a lucky charm score higher on tests. Not because the object has power, but because belief in the object lowers anxiety and lifts focus. Randomness feels unlivable without anchors. Belief is a survival tool, not a flaw. Actually, it is the system itself. Which raises a harder question about you personally. What do you actually do with all of this? You could throw the whole thing out. Declare yourself too rational for lucky numbers. Some people do. They also tend to be the most anxious, because they've stripped away the anchors without ever replacing them. That's not the move. Here's the twist. Keep the number, drop the fear. Use ritual to focus, not predict. Your lucky 7 doesn't control the lottery, but repeating it before a hard conversation can calm your breathing. That's real. That's measurable. Start noticing which signs you filter out and which ones you let quietly through. Notice the days your unlucky number appeared everywhere and absolutely nothing bad happened to you at all. Notice the days your lucky number was nowhere in sight and yet something quietly wonderful still arrived anyway. Randomness rewards attention, not devotion. The Wiseman study proved it clearly. Your luck grows exactly where you look. Widen the aperture. Talk to the stranger. Try the small experiment. Interpret every setback as temporary, not final. Treat your lucky number as a bookmark, not a prophecy. A reminder to stay open to noticing something. The universe doesn't owe you anything. It never did. But the mind expecting to notice something interesting usually does. But here's the thing. There is one number even science cannot explain. Mathematicians call it Graham's number. It's so large that if you pictured every digit, your skull would collapse into a black hole first. That's not a metaphor, that's actual physics. Some numbers are simply too big for reality itself to contain. If you want the full story of the digit that scared the people who invented modern math, watch next. But before you go, tell me, what's your lucky number? Where did it come from? A grandmother, jersey, dream? Write it in the comments. I read them. Subscribe for more breakdowns of the quiet patterns running your mind. Your next favorite mystery is only one click away. Stay curious. The quiet